Hi, Tom here. Welcome to today's video. Aquarius, the last few weeks have shifted something important for you. You've gained clarity. You've spoken truth. You've refined how you want to show up in the world. This week is different. This week isn't about insight or expression anymore. It's about staying present inside the version of yourself you've become. From a Vedic perspective, the energy now moves into embodiment, where awareness stops floating above life and begins living inside it. And for you, this phase is especially important because you're someone who naturally operates at a higher altitude. You observe. You detach in order to understand. But this week, ask something subtle and powerful. What happens when you stop hovering and fully arrive? You may notice a temptation to step back again, to analyze instead of participate, to intellectualize instead of feel, to stay objective rather than engaged. This isn't avoidance. It's a familiar coping strategy. But now, detachment isn't serving growth. Presence is. Aquarius, your gift has always been perspective. You see systems. You understand patterns. You recognize what others miss. This week teaches you a deeper truth. Wisdom isn't complete until it's lived consistently. And consistency requires presence, not distance. You may feel moments where you feel quieter than usual. Less stimulation, less urgency, and less mental excitement. That quiet isn't boredom. It's stability. And stability can feel unfamiliar when you're used to constant mental motion. Here's the deeper lesson for this week. You don't need to keep reinventing yourself to stay authentic. You don't need to stay ahead of life to stay free. Freedom now comes from inhabiting your life fully, not standing outside it. You may notice a shift in how you relate to people this week. Less observing and more participating. Conversations can feel lighter. Connections can feel more real. Not because they're perfect, but because you're no longer watching yourself inside them. That's embodiment. There's also a grounding of identity happening. You may realize that who you are now doesn't need defending, explaining, or redefining. It just needs to be lived. And living doesn't require commentary. It requires presence. You might also notice a reduced urge to disengage when things feel mundane. Routine doesn't feel like a trap this week. It feels like a container. And containers allow energy to settle instead of scatter. This week isn't asking you to think differently. It's asking you to stay. To stay in conversations. To stay in moments. To stay emotionally available without floating above the experience. That's where integration happens. Now, let's talk alignment. One intentional practice for you this week. Fully engage in one ordinary moment without analyzing it. No meaning making, no commentary, and absolutely no abstraction. Just presence. That single act will anchor more growth than any other insight ever could. And as you do this, notice what changes. Less mental noise, more grounded awareness, a subtle sense of belonging, not to an idea, but to your own life. That's your nervous system settling into embodiment. Aquarius. This week isn't about becoming more involved. It's about becoming more here. You don't lose your brilliance by grounding it. You make it usable. And when your insight lives inside your actions, your presence becomes quietly powerful. Let yourself arrive. And you need to trust that. Before you go, there's something important you should know. These horoscopes are based on Vedic astrology, also known as sidereal astrology. That means we're using the actual positions of the stars in the sky, not the tropical system used in most Western astrology. Because of that, your sun signs here may be different than what you're used to. And that's okay. In Vedic astrology, we don't start with the sun sign. We start with the moon sign, because the moon represents your mind, emotions, and how life is experienced day to day. First, always watch this for your Vedic moon sign. That's where this horoscope will feel the most accurate and personal. Next, I recommend watching for your rising sign, also called your ascendant or lagna. Your rising sign shows how these energies show up in your physical life, your body, your environment, and the situations unfolding around you. Then, you can also watch for your sun sign, which adds insight into your identity, confidence, and sense of purpose during this time. And if love, relationships, creativity, or money are major themes for you right now, I also recommend checking your Venus sign, called Shukra in Vedic astrology, for an extra layer of clarity. For weeks where things feel intense, faded, or life-shifting, it can also be helpful to look at your lunar nodes, Rahu and Ketu. These show where growth is pulling you forward and where old patterns are asking to be released. To find your correct placements, make sure you're using a Vedic or sidereal natal chart, not a tropical one. Once you know your moon, rising, sun, and Venus signs, and optionally Rahu and Ketu, you'll get a much deeper and more complete understanding of what's unfolding. If this message resonated with you, please like the video. It truly helps support this channel and allows these messages to reach the people who actually need them. And if you're enjoying these weekly Vedic horoscopes, consider subscribing so you don't miss future messages for your signs. You are not one sign. You are a system of energies, learning how to work together. Take care and be calm.